Children are being forced to work in lunar mining colony 2257. This is not child labor. A lockdown is about to begin. The radio informs those who conceal from others that they may be seen. Looking over Michael's ashes, Caleb Dillon lights the rover and an alarm goes off earlier that day. Caleb finds out about his father's death and he permits the family to travel to Omega with him. His mother passed away 7 years prior, so they will travel to Omega and cry themselves asleep. After the trip takes 75 years, he finds out that his father toiled diligently to fuel the ships for Omega, and that after the lockdown and the meteor shower, he will have to leave, even though he doesn't want to part from his friends. Caleb recalls his father Mikkel telling him stories about the stars and his family, who are no longer with them but are still there. Cuddy wanted him to see the crater before he passed away, so they make the decision to go see it before Caleb leaves. They look at the items they stole for the trip, and when someone knocks on the door, Caleb answers and gets Michael's ashes. They grab some food from the cafeteria and head outside where they ask Addison Weaver, who recently moved from Earth and doesn't have any friends because her father is on the science team, so they can obtain the codes. Dylan approaches her and attempts to speak with her, but she runs away. He begs her to assist, and she grudgingly agrees to collect the codes but has to accompany Dylan knows how to operate the rover. So Caleb takes out a wire and the alarm stops. They drive out of the dome, following the trail until they come upon the transport truck. Marcus swallows his pills and Caleb tells him that the moon was once only a place of dreams. However, after they discovered Omega, the building was abandoned. Addison learns that children born on the crater had to labor for 20 years in order to reach Omega. If they were late or suffered from a cold, for example, they had to add more time. They put on their suits and decide to have fun on the moon. They jump around, celebrate, and play a game of launching themselves up, wasting oxygen. They continue to play this game until the cable breaks, and they decide to go to the first outpost to see if there is still oxygen left. After entering the outpost, they decide to spend the night there, finding more oxygen. Feast Addison talks about her family. Her parents divorced, and her mother decided to spend 75 years in a cryo chamber to avoid him. She took her brother with her, and Barney unintentionally plays music. They discuss the 20 years they signed away, smash things, dance in a circle, and start screaming at random. They fall asleep, and Caleb stays awake. He tells Addison about how he met Dylan. He was starving and wanted a sandwich, so he went to the cafeteria late and discovered Dylan was stealing. They decided to spend the entire night eating sandwiches, and he wants her to stay with Dylan after he leaves. They travel back on the rover, and when it breaks down, they send a distress signal and decide to investigate what's inside the CR. They reach the crater where they decide to explore, even though Michael promised Caleb he would see the crater even if he died. They all jump down, look at a pillar, and a door opens. They descend the stairs and discover a snack, and Addison begins to press wildly against the walls. She unlocks the box, clicks the button, and a white encasement of the chamber appears, transporting them to Earth where they see trees, birds soaring, a blue sky, and an illusion. When Fade's Caleb pulls up the panel, he discovers a photo of his parents and his mother's ashes, which he places with his mother's. He also finds a star on the floor. Dylan tries to talk Caleb into going to Omega, telling him that it's a part of them that gets to go there too, even if it's not in their lifetime. Eventually, though, they start heading back to the rover, but Marcus Waddles is knocked unconscious by the meteor shower, making him more prone to hypotension. They manage to get Marcus to the rover, but Addison is missing. They locate Addison, but a meteor knocks Dylan unconscious. They patch the gaps and head back to the rover with Dylan. When they return to the rover after Caleb trips and they start running again, they discover that the meteor storm is preventing the rescue trucks from arriving. Dylan is still unconscious as they sit in the rover and know they are running out of air. They gradually node out and never wake up, and when the switch shuts off, the rover smashes. Dylan's suit switches off and Caleb's suit turns off. When Dylan wakes up in Omega, he gets a transmitter with the messages he has received for the previous 75 years that he has been in Chrysley. Caleb lies about the rescue trucks arriving. The others fall asleep. Dylan informs him that Addison feeds him sandwiches all the time. Caleb meets his foster family, discovers his parents' photo, reconnects with old school friends, eats salad with his family, and hears Dylan talk about starting a family with Addison and extending their contract to a strict 20-year period. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing.